Hello, welcome back. My name is Paul Fritz, and this is video number 9, our last video in the series of making my first scene in Unreal Engine. And last time we talked about lights. By no means do I want you to walk away with the impression that lights are our only solution to be able to improve our frames per second rate. Okay. With the assets that we're using, lights were most likely the reason why we were running so slow. But if you're using other assets that you've imported in from somewhere else, from other developers, from designers, those assets may not be optimized, and they may have a very high triangle count, polygon count. So very complicated assets could also cause some problems, especially if you have a lot of them in your scene. All of these have been kind of optimized by the people that made them, the Infinity Blade, for Unreal Engine. So not a lot of issues up front with them. And we're seeing a lot of use of textures instead of complicated geometry. But those could be some things that could cause slowdown, not just the lighting. Lighting plays a big factor. You know, when you come in, you may throw a lot of lights into a room and because you're trying to get a certain look. Those are things that could definitely slow down your frames per second and make it so you're not hitting the milliseconds that you want per each draw. So those are some things to consider. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull up Epic Game again, and we're going to open up a second scene, and what we want to do is create a new, basically a new game that we're going to use to migrate this scene into. Because when we created this scene, we've imported a lot of assets. Many of these assets we're not even using. I used just a handful of things from the grasslands and the firelands, but every single asset is still in these folders. And when we go to package our game here, those are also going to be things that could cause some issues, could cause some slowdown, create a longer amount of time to be able to go ahead and package it. So what I like to do in order to cut this down, especially if I'm using a lot of assets from third parties, you know, these packaged folders that have assets I'm not even going to use, is I like to try to clean them out. So if we go through each individual folder, that could take us forever, especially if we accidentally delete something that we need and then we got to put it back in. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to migrate this level. And I'm going to open up my Epic Games, and what I'm going to do is then, so my Epic Launcher app, and what I'm going to do from here is open up Unreal Engine. And while that's working, I'm going to pause. And once it comes back up, then I'll go ahead and... Okay, so now I have my browser open, and what I want to do is I want to create a new game. I'm going to go ahead and say next. I'm going to make this a third-person game because that's what I've been working with. And if I picked a blank game, what might happen is the controllers wouldn't come in. We could fix that, but that's additional work we don't really want to have to do. So I'm just going to pick a third-person game, hit next. I'm going to put no starter content in this one, and then I'm also going to leave it on my desktop console, leave the rest of this alone. I'm going to go into my Unreal projects, and I'm going to, since this is my demo, that's what I've been calling this particular project that I've been working on, and I'm going to call this package. Okay, and what I'm going to do then is select create project, and while it's doing that, I'm going to pause again, give it a little bit of time, especially since I have so many. Okay, so now I've got that open. This is my third-person example map, and pretty much exactly what we expected to see. I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute. I'm going to come down here and find my maps. And I'm going to find the map that I'm using. In this case, this demo level, I named it Level 1 Lighting. I'm going to click on it, right-click, go up here to Asset Actions. Come down here to Migrate, select Migrate. It's going to ask me, what do I want to migrate in this particular map? Well, I want everything that this map is using to migrate. And that's what everything that is here. Nothing else, not all the extra assets, just the things I'm actually using. I'm going to say OK. It's going to ask me, where do I want it to go? Well, I'm going to go into my Unreal projects and put it into my demo package here. and select the content folder and say select folder. And I'm going to say yes to all. If you have that pop up, that's something you want to do. You want to say yes to all. All right, and I'm going to dismiss that. All right, so now if I come over here and open this up, go to my maps, there's my level 1 lighting. Notice nothing else is in there. That other map I had, it's not in there. If I looked at some of these assets here, and for ruins, I use some of the ruin stuff. Take a look at the static mesh. See, I only have the stuff that I actually used for this project. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my content, my maps, pick my level 1, and that should open up pretty quickly. And here we are. In fact, it's almost identical to where I was in there the last time I saved it. Okay. And I can take a tour around, just make sure everything's here. Everything's working the way it's supposed to be. My lighting should be correct. Close to it. All right. So the reason why I did that is because I want to be able to optimize the amount of time that we're actually going to use for building and packaging this out. So I'm going to move this out of the way for a second. Select my version here. Now this version, if I don't do anything else to it, I don't have to, all of these particular objects are going to stay here. If I ever want to come in and make some changes, then basically I'll be able to come in and have access to all of those assets. I'll try saying that a few times. All right, so that way I have this fresh one that is my saved one. I can always revert back to it, and I'm going to go ahead and close that. This one is the one I'm going to package. So anything I do to this is going to affect my entire level here. So, and I'm okay with that because we're ready to do that with this one. Now, if I hit play, just want to make sure that all my controllers are working properly. My guy's running around correctly. All right, looks pretty good. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is come over here. I'm going to go to File. Right here where it says Package Project. Hover over that. We're going to come down here to Package Settings. Let's go in here first. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have the right map. That's what we're going to build here. So build configuration, actually we want to change this one to shipping. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to, that's under packaging here. For build configuration, we want shipping. Now we're going to come up here to maps and modes. We want to make sure that we have the correct map in here. I do not want to build out my third-person example map, for example. What I want is my level 1, so my actual level that I built. So I'm going to change both of those. This is where I want it to start up. I don't need to see the example map every time I open this up, and I want the game default map to be level 1. Everything else I'm going to leave alone on here. Make sure you're in third-person game mode, though. Okay, and that should be just about it. Let me just click. That should be it. Okay, so we didn't really do much else to this. So those are the main things we want to make sure. I can click on target hardware. It's going to go to my desktop console, maximum quality. And what else do we have over here that we might want to look at? And we could give it a description if we wanted to, and a few other things. All right, so that is going to be it for now. So we're going to go ahead and, sorry, I'm just clicking through, just making sure that there's nothing else I really want to talk about on here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now what I'm going to do is go back to File, Package Project again, Build Configuration. If you hover over that, it should now say Shipping. We want to build it out in Windows. If that's what you're using, I'm using Windows. If you did all of this and followed along on a Mac, you should have an option for a Mac over here. I do not because this is Windows. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Windows 64 is going to ask me where I want it to go. I'm going to create a new folder in this demo package so I can kind of keep all this together because it's going to create a folder and also an executable and a few other files. So I'm going to call this my level demo. Okay. I'll just call it level demo. All right, so level demo, and I'm going to select that folder. And now what it's going to do is it's going to go through this long process of building it out. So it's going to do everything required to finish out and deliver a completely built out game with my lighting, everything. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this down here while it's doing that, and I will see you in a little while. It's going to take a while. Okay, so that's pretty much the process. Once we get done, we go back into our level demo here. So here's my demo package, the folder I created. Windows No Editor, click in there, and there it is, demo package. It shouldn't have taken too long. Fortunately, by cleaning everything out, all those additional assets didn't have to be gone through by the package process. And now if you double click on this icon right here, the application will open up and it'll play. I'll give that a shot here. We'll see if that works, but with everything that I'm running on here as far as the Unreal Editor and the screen capture software, we might run into some little issues. So let me minimize that out of the way. And okay, there we go. So now I should be able to run through this. And there we go. Run around. Okay, so there we have it. That is it. That is the entire process, and that is it for this class. I hope if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Go ahead and put them in the comments section, and I will definitely get back to you if I can. And if not, I definitely will be taking a look, and I'll get back to you. Anyway, so that's it for this lesson. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, please go ahead and leave a like. If you want to see more, go ahead and please subscribe to my channel. And that will be it. Thank you again, and see you next time.